Greetings from San Cristobal, Guatemala. I just wanted to kind of record this report, just to let everybody know how things are going. I spent like the past almost week in between all the kids' homeworks, and we were not very well prepared for homeschooling, but that's been a big challenge. But between that and trying to communicate some with the folks back home while still trying to deal with keeping the church going and the transition house and everything. It's been a bit of a challenge really communicating with everyone correctly. So I just kind of scrapped everything I was writing and thought it would be best and a bit easier to just record a little bit of video, just to kind of give a report of what's going on here. And actually, one church, that's actually what they were actually asking for, would be a video instead. So just thought I would just do one for everybody. We're doing all right. We've been under martial law and under curfew now. I think this is our third week, maybe a little more. The schools have been closed since a little bit before that. All was considered non-essential businesses have been closed down. Um, Churches have been closed down for over 3 weeks. Anything involving groups of 10 people or more, well, now that's even less. So we've been adapting. We've been doing lessons and communicating over video chats, and we've been and actually our church services, our internet services have now we have more than just our regular people joining in with that. This morning we had people come in and worship with us from Spain, El Salvador, and the United States, as well as Guatemala. So it's been kind of a different situation. We've been we We don't have a lot of protections here, like for price gouging and that sort of things, like what you would expect in the U.S. in times of crisis. We don't have that in place here. Fortunately, uh, fortunately we were prepared. We're feeding about 17 people right now between the transition house and that work that we're doing, and um, prices have gone up, access to resources have gone down, but I have been working on keeping a good stockpile of dry goods and foods in the freezer and things like that. Because we live in an earthquake zone, and it's something that we've always been concerned about. Uh, just a matter of days before our borders were closed, actually 2 days before our borders were closed, we were anticipating a mission team coming from the West Ark Church of Christ in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and it was going to be 50 total people split into 2 weeks. We had just finished buying all their food. Uh, all the materials, everything we do in those campaigns and mission trips, we have to buy in advance because it all needs to be on site when the people are here. So, on one way, it was kind of difficult because we spent a lot of money in construction materials and different stuff that then they weren't here to actually do that work. And so, how do we handle that? What do we do with that? But the other thing was this food. I mean, thousands of dollars of food. So that all, like I said, we had it all. They had to cancel the trip 2 days before they were supposed to come. Well, then within a day and a half of that, the borders were closed, martial law was put into place, all this kind of stuff happened. So it was great that they didn't come. But then we're kind of feeling bad. There was all this donation that was made. What do we do with it? It has saved our lives, to be honest. That augmented the food that we had and food we couldn't get and different things. And so we haven't skipped a beat on that. Not only that is our older people. We have one family in their 80s, and another one in their upper 70s, and some others in the peripheral that we've been able to pretty much just take care of. So they do not leave their house. We've been delivering them food in the name of the church and doing different things, because there are certain areas that I'm allowed to get out and go into town and do some things like that. For the most part, the entire church is all sheltered in place and they don't get out. I have been moving about, delivering food baskets and taking care of things at the transition house. Fortunately, we just moved into our new house, which is only about 3 blocks away from the transition house. We've been able to do that. But we've also been taking care of some elderly not just in the congregation, but like Noe's parent, Noe's father, and some other people too. So that all was a huge blessing. We're now on top of our 17 people that we have with associated with the transition house and people working with the church and stuff. We also have 2 or 3 families that have been recipients of that it gets doled out on a weekly basis. We actually have 2 rooms in my house now that are just have kind of become dry goods storage and deep freezes and that sort of thing. So hopefully, and we've just been trying to make it stretch and last, and hopefully that'll last a good long time. But we're doing okay. The people in the country kind of started rebelling a bit to kind of for some of the protective measures that have been put in place. Our new president is a doctor, and he also is he holds dual citizenship in Italy, has family and stuff there. So with seeing what happened in Italy, his knowledge as a doctor, he's really taken a lot of protective measures to keep us safe. That's why we sheltered in place so early. That's why we have the curfew. If you're caught out of your house between 4 p.m. and 4 a.m., you get arrested. You go to jail. I think like 2,000 people were arrested just the first couple of days. And so he shut our borders down relatively early. He shut down schools. He shut down churches. He shut down shopping malls and shopping centers. And that has all been a very calm, good situation. What we started seeing happen this week was people losing patience, and there was like a second wave of kind of the hoarding of food and things like that. We don't know what's going to happen. Like rationing is very, very the level at which they're rationing food has increased quite a bit. Yesterday, it was the 3rd day in a row I tried to get into a supermarket and I couldn't. The average lines are about 200 to 300 people trying to get in. So it's all in how early you get there, or if you meet certain criteria, who gets to come in, who gets to come out. But like I said, we're prepared. I'd like to go buy some other things, but we are fine. We have meat in the deep freeze. We have rice. We have several hundred pounds of dry goods, and right now I'm able to feed everybody. So the church is in good spirits. They're frustrated and they're concerned, of course, but we've been using this time, keeping in communication with each other, serving each other as much as we can. We would like to go into the village and serve the people up there. We know they have nothing, but we can't get to them. We just can't. We can't do it. And they don't have any access really to phones or internet, a lot of them. So we don't know what's going on with our church plants up there, or the members of the church who are there. We literally cannot get up there, and so we're praying for them. We're also trying to create a network of churches that we do work with in other parts of the country, the ones that we kind of support their Bible studies and different works that they do, or that we just have a relationship with. We're in contact with the church in Popetoon, which is about 8 hours away from here. We're in very close contact with the church in Ella Store, about 4 hours away. That's a church that we kind of are overseeing a portion of their work right now. There's some churches like that, 2 or 3 churches like that we are just very much involved with, and we're kind of their only connection to the outside world right now. But even our own work of our own church plant up in the village, which is only 25 minutes away from here, we have no contact with them. So it's a very interesting situation. So the orphanage, we're not allowed to go up there. And of course, we've also been working in the old folks' home. We can't go there either. We can't go anywhere right now. We're not supposed to leave our houses. But even in the hours that we can get out, there's those areas that no one can go to. So we're just trying to be patient, and we're trying not to be frustrated. People are starting to get frustrated. It's been an interesting thing to kind of see it goes back and forth. People in the streets get very frustrated, and that's when we have the big hoarding runs on the stores and things. But for the most part, people are being calm, and they understand that a lot of these things are put into place for our own good, because we don't have the medical infrastructure to handle if a large number of us need respirators, get sick, need help. We just don't. We can't handle it, so they're trying to prevent that with everything they can, with the hopes that something comes up that will help us with herd immunity or whatever or vaccine or whatever, needs to take its place. But for right now, we're hunkered in, and we're staying hunkered in. They've canceled, this week starts Semana Santa, which is Holy Week, which is the biggest celebration in the country. It's like if you think of Mardi Gras, but for the whole country. And it's known as being a pretty wild, big celebration. That's all been canceled. They passed a law no one can drink, buy, or sell alcohol over the next week. I mean, they're just doing everything they can to keep people calm and keep them in their homes. We're not allowed to go from city to city right now. You can only stay in the town that you live. And you have to prove, if you try to go from one to the other, they're going to stop you. What are you doing? If it's not an emergency or an essential thing, you will be in trouble. You cannot leave your area of residence. But even then, you can't even be outside between 4 p.m. and 4 a.m. You're caught outside, you're going to jail, period. So there were some the embassy did have some diplomatic flights coming in and out, and we were offered the chance to get onto one of those charters and leave the country. Our decision was to stay here and to support our people through this. And in some ways, we're probably better off staying here. But either way, we didn't want to cut and run. But we're here, and I don't want people to think that we're in any kind of danger. We're fine. We're fine. We've been prepared, not for this. I don't think the world was prepared for this, but we were prepared for to be on our own for a little while. And so we're going to be all right. We are hearing of, number one, a lot of the missionaries in the country have left the country, and so we didn't want to be one of those statistics. But we're also hearing from a lot of the Guatemalans that they are trying to contact the U.S. to ask for additional funds for big food programs and this, that, and the other. And I would like to tell you that is unnecessary. People are being taken care of. People can't get access to things. I don't want to see anyone taken advantage of. Please don't get the idea that that is a necessary thing. And anytime we've heard of something like that, we've tried to put a stop to it. The U.S. churches need to take care of themselves. You guys are in a situation too. We are in a situation, but people are. We're eating. We're things are being done. I'm not very happy to see that people have been trying to take advantage in that way. There might be, at some time in the future, there might be some need. We don't have the infrastructure that the United States has. We will not recover from this. If it goes on much longer, we won't recover from this the way that U.S. can recover from a situation like this. I'm surprised we still have lights and internet and phone and this sort of thing. I don't know how much longer that can go on, but they're doing a great job so far, and people are not starving to death. Things are happening, but we're being able to take care of ourselves, and there's not a need for the U.S. churches to sacrifice for us. Right now, I believe we need to take care of ourselves, and the U.S. needs to take care of themselves, and that's the message we're giving to our people. So with all that being said, I don't want to paint a picture like we're suffering here or anything like that, but also I do want to be honest, and that it is a difficult situation. A lot of our rights under the Constitution have, for our own protection, they have been done away with during this time. So we're just trying to follow rules, do what needs to be done. And our biggest hope with all of this, and the big message that we're doing on all of our online studies and communications with everybody right now, keeping things together, is that this is our chance for revival, to see what God can do with us coming out of this. We're going to be entering into a new world that none of us know. We have to adjust to a new normal. And I think the temptation will be for us to fear and to maybe to count all the things we've lost. But I think what's best for us is to focus on all that we have, and to be thankful to God, and to realign our perspective, hopefully with God's perspective in these trying times, and that we can come out of this energized, ready to serve, and that we can show hope in Jesus Christ to those who probably aren't going to come out of this with a lot of hope or faith. And so I just would like for you to pray for us, that we continue to support one another, that we continue to walk safely during this time, but also that we can find a point of revival, and that we can be a part of God's work to revive spiritually, not just our church, but our nation and hopefully the world. I don't think that it's any small thing that this is all happening around the time that we celebrate Christ's resurrection and that hope that we have of new life, rebirth, and resurrection as well. And I hope that we can be good ambassadors of Christ during this time and to offer a rebirth and renewal through Jesus for our neighbors and loved ones all around us here in Guatemala. And I hope that you guys can do that, and your congregation as well. We love you all very much. We're very thankful for your support and your prayers. Just this morning in our Sunday service over online that we did, we prayed for every one of the congregations that's helping us, as we prayed for the Lord's church as a whole. And many of you we prayed for by name. And we're just very thankful for your love, your support. We're grateful to you. We don't feel like we're alone knowing that you're there. And we couldn't be doing this without you. And, I don't know what my job is right now. I mean, things are just changing so fast. And I feel so restricted, but also I feel freed up in many ways to get to recenter, refocus, and just be looking for in what way can we share the gospel in these new days and whatever new ways and new opportunities. And I just want to thank you all for being a part of that, and just ask for your patience. We're still trying to figure out who we are and what we're doing, and we just want to express our gratitude and our love for you in the name of Jesus. Thank you all so much. Bye-bye.